The following program contains disturbing materials that may not be suitable for some resellers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm doing something a little bit different today using StreamYard for this live because I have a guest with us, a very close friend of the channel, and I just didn't want to do it in a way where it's going to be kind of hard for him to follow the comments. You guys know him as Scott Bearded Picker, and we're going to bring him on with us. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm just glad I'm a long ways away from you because I might have to sit in the chair beside you and be a friend with benefits, and that would be ugly.
Did you get the memo to wear red today?
This is Alabama. I wear red. My whole closet is full of red.
So I apologize to those who actually tried to tune in. You know, we get a large following of people that jump in on the live comments, like I'd say 2-3 hours ahead of time, you know, trying to be first, even though Keith was first on the last one. But there was quite a few, and I almost didn't want to cancel that live stream so I could set up the StreamYard live. And I hope that we didn't lose anybody thinking that, hey, where's the show? They're sitting in the live for that other live stream. But I did cancel it, so hopefully they did see that. But today I want to talk about something with the world. It seems like economically the world is kind of going just nuts, right? And the caveat here is without getting political, because I know that sometimes it can happen, but it doesn't. I don't think talking, you know, up either side of the aisle really helps anything, because we're all going through the same thing, and realistically we don't have any control over what's going on with all the stuff, whether you agree with it or don't. This is what it is. And I want to know what your outlook is, and put it in the chat. If you're with us, comment down below. If you're not, what is your outlook for 2025? Do you think that reselling is going to get a little bit more difficult? Or do you think it's just going to be, you know, we get crap every year and this is just another thing? So Beard, with that in mind, what do you think? What do you think 2025 is going to look like?
I think we've got difficulty ahead. I think, you know, just because the sheer number of job losses, you know, everybody's focused on the federal government cutting jobs, but you know, there's businesses all around that are failing and layoffs are happening. And so I think at some point, not only will some of the customers not have the ability to buy things, but I think also we'll have competition. Right now, I think and I agree with Josh. Josh talked about it a little bit on the podcast. Check out the podcast tomorrow. That he thinks that a lot of the people the stragglers and the people from 2020 are now starting to walk away. But I think there'll be a new influx of people whenever they are, you know, what do I do now? And the jobs are not available. And this is something that there's no barrier to entry. You know, depending on how hard you're willing to work, you can catch up to speed about reselling.
What about like sourcing and all that? Do you think that's going to change?
There's great opportunity right now. Like I said, I went to a thrift store today. It was 40 miles from here. They had lost their building because the people who owned the land sold it, so they got to be out. And so they've got two buildings. And the one's the overflow building. They put everything off 50 cents off. Not off, but 50 cents an item, 2 for $1. So I ended up, I think I spent $15, $14, 28 items. Biggest one was a Malay I don't know how you pronounce it. Malay vacuum cleaner. Those things are German vacuum cleaners. Miele. They are very expensive vacuum cleaners, and I ended up parting that out because just the head on it is worth 50 or 60. The hose is worth 50 or 60, and then I haven't looked up the canister yet.
I'm finding that quite the opposite, actually. I think I mentioned this also on the PPP. I don't want to give up too much PPP content, but it's a real thing that I'm dealing with, that my sourcing opportunities are one vendor. They've upped their starting bid prices on their items to where it's like, I don't even pay this much for these things. So I've got to make a decision. Do I want to, pony up more per item now? And that's just their starting bid price. And then this other vendor I go to, they used to manifest their pallets. Now they're just putting a generic amount for every item in the pallet, and I know that's not accurate. So it's the accuracy of being able to determine the MSRP of the entire lot is very difficult. They just put everything at $199 per unit, even though I know that there's items in there that wouldn't sell brand new for 50. And trying to be able to determine what percentage of MSRP I want to be in to a lot that's not even priced properly with only 2 or 3 photos for me to see. Sometimes, there's wrap on these pallets. You can't see what's inside. It's a crapshoot. And do I want to, take that kind of a chance? And then I guess my plan C would be to go to yard sales, but man, I don't want to revert to yard. I don't mind doing yard sales, and I may do some tomorrow, but I just don't want that to be my main sourcing when sourcing's been really good with liquidation.
So there is I guess there's the cup. Look at it, cup half empty or cup half full. If they don't raise their minimum bid, maybe they're not able to do what they do anymore, and so then you lose it completely. So and the same thing with they're spending so much time manifesting, and then the amount of labor they're putting into these makes it harder on them. So at least they haven't gone away, which is not what you want to hear, but at least your options are still there. I mean,
yeah,
so many places are just going by the wayside right now. It is crazy.
But I've always said that 90 to 95% of liquidation ain't worth buying for resale. And now I'm taking out, my way of vetting these things so I can know what the 5% is. It's going to be more of a crapshoot than ever. And I don't know. I guess if I get in for 5% of MSRP, then it's worth the crapshoot. I guess that's what I have. I just have a lot of merchandise right now, and I really would rather take targeted risks. Like, I just sold a $1,000 stereo. It was it's a Denon, a DENON, and normally $1,500 MSRP, pre-owned condition, really almost new, but I called it pre-owned. Wanted 1,100, they came at me for 1,000, and I'm like, okay. I checked the buyer, made sure that they weren't full of red marks leaving for sellers, because I'd rather wait for $900 for someone that's going to be halfway decent. And this person was receptive, and when I accepted the offer, sent them a message, they were receptive, and so I don't think I'm going to have any problems with it. That's the thing. You sell a big ticket item, you start to worry, like, oh no, is this guy scamming me? Is this guy, going to do a charge back? Is this guy going to send me his old unit? You get the demons in your head telling you, hey, this guy's going to screw you. And I've got people that send me messages watching right now. I'm sure that that's all I get for some of these people is like, oh, this person, I can't sell to them, or I got to cancel the sale, or they're going to screw me. And it's like, you can't run your business thinking like that. You just can't. It's going to happen, but you just can't worry about that kind of thing.
So in this kind of environment, the one thing I would tell people, my advice would be, it's the same as it always is you don't know when your inventory is going to change. So if you have the opportunity for a good buy, even if you got too much inventory, you still have to figure out, you're weighing the odds of, what happens if something changes in the near future. I didn't need anything today, but driving over to I did some retail arbitrage in this little town, the same place that I picked up this stuff, and it's just another group of stuff. Yard sales have not quite started yet. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. It's going to hit a flea market tomorrow before the rain. So you just never know when your sourcing is going to dry up. And if you have the opportunity to buy right, which is where you make the money, if you buy right, it's hard to lose at 50 cents. I mean, freaking 50. I brought boots to sell to auction. I never heard of them before, but Itasca boots. They're some kind of hunting boots. There was all kinds of coffee makers and carafes and crock pots and albums. I bought just a wide variety of stuff. And
you only spent $15?
Yeah, $15. You got 30 items.
Yeah, you think you'd get more than that if they're.
Dude, this building was. So when you go out to the country and you see like an older building that looks like, what the hell's holding that up? It was in that kind of building. There's the roof was leaking.
Oh,
It had a
wow.
smell. I'm like, I had a bunch of CRT TVs and stuff that I would have been interested in, but just the way they've been stored, I'm like, what are the chances they work? I did get a couple VCRs out of there. There's quite a few things that, I mean, it's good solid money if they work, but I was worried about things working. I got old blenders, like a blender I'd never seen one like it before. This thing it's crazy from the 70s, it's late 60s, early 70s. I seem to collect that stuff here lately.
Well, we have a yard sale here in our community tomorrow, actually this weekend. So I'm kind of on the fence, and I'm sort of 50-50. I mean, if I have stuff that's I can put out in the yard sale, why not just sell it live? Right? Be done in 2 hours, make about maybe the same amount of money, because at yard sales, you got to have yard sale prices. You can't say, oh, I want $10 for this thing. It normally sells for $50. People aren't going to buy it, you know? And I just got to figure out, do I have enough stuff to make live work? So like larger items, those are more for yard sales if you can't move it on eBay or marketplace. So really not fit for live. But then I do have a couple tubs of smaller things. So I don't know, maybe do both. Maybe I do a live while I'm doing the yard sale. I don't know, or don't do it at all. So
I think that's why it's important that, that's why I'm starting to get my feet wet and whatnot. Just giving myself more options. Our local auction was really good last night. My best week of the year, and it's a bunch of that stuff that I bought on that trailer to build those Gevo shot machines. And man, I'm hooking up the trailer Monday morning and just gonna fill that on my entire section with all that stuff. I'm like, it went over so well this week and 2 weeks before. I'm like, man, I'm getting rid of this stuff. We're putting it all out. Somebody else can have this stuff.
So you're kind of gung ho into buying. Is there a reason behind it? Just take advantage of the opportunities. Do you see prices going up across the board, or just retail that we're going to have to deal with?
Well, this is the first time today that I've gotten out really doing much. I did yard sales, but last Friday it was like 6. But I've been so focused on staying here and working through what I've got. I needed the change. I needed to get in the van and me and the van go drive around for a while.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
It was good to do some RA. I picked up some good items that will sell immediately, and then got all those items to work on. And the other thing is Johnny's starting to help me list, and so I've got quite a bit of parts and things that I can put in a tub. Like I bought a bunch of clear lids, and the glass clear lids, they fit on either Crock-Pot or Corning or Pyrex, and that's her kind of thing. She loves, she collects Pyrex. I'm like, and these things are 50 cents each, and most of these glass lids sell for $18, $25, somewhere in there. So it's a good trade-off to allow her to do some things. So I've also wanted to buy for the auctions, for the Whatnot auction. So I went looking to see if I can find some of that stuff too. So it's not a matter of what buying stuff; it's a matter of what I have and what I want to sell on Whatnot. And
do you sell auto parts?
Just what I pick up here or there.
I don't know if you received this email. I received this email here that everything you need to know about Fitment Plus Auto for P&A listings. And so it's pretty much a system that you just list the item and it'll automatically go through that tedious process of, picking out what model and make and model this part is for. And I don't know if you got it, but it says,
I'm going to look right now.
It says how a Fitment Plus Auto works. Your listings are covered in the covered categories will be regularly updated using an eBay maintained database. If your listings don't have Fitment data, we'll automatically add the relevant information to them. If your listings already include Fitment data, missing or uploaded information may be added to improve accuracy. So if you're opted in, they've opted me in automatically. So it's one of those things where I can go in. I have like 500 parts in my storage unit, and I was wondering, what the hell am I going to do with these things? I was even thinking about maybe putting them out at a yard sale, but I don't know. I didn't. I guess I might keep them now that it's just going to be as easy as listing them, not having to go through the fitment process, which is what's kept me from listing them. And we'll see what happens. But I just kind of wonder if that was across the board. People were signed up for it. If you've sold auto parts before,
I've got a few listed. I picked up some parts at the thrift store a few weeks, I don't know, about a month ago, and they're all listed. But I did not get. I just checked it. I did not get, and I didn't make any funky remarks. I just countered it like $1 less than what I have it advertised at. I need to watch the PPP because we need your opinions on what I told a customer on a lowball offer.
yeah.
You think I've always wanted to tell the customer this? Well, I didn't have that little voice on my shoulder telling me not to do it. Just the one on the shoulder going, yeah.
I look at it like this. If I'm going to go to a yard sale and lowball the hell out of people, and I don't do it to try to be a jerk.
I don't lowball people though. That's probably why it makes me mad.
I mean, I don't. I guess that's what people say. I lowball, but what it is I'll go and look at something at a yard sale, and I will be the one that'll say, okay, they want 10. You say, how much to 10? Okay, you're looking around, and I'll come back and say, would you take 5? They're like, no. Okay, well, fine. Not done yet. What about if I bundle? Let me pick out a bunch of things. What do you want for all this? And then we'll see what happens. Does that make me a low baller? I guess. But look, I'm trying to win at this game of reselling, and you start when you buy. If I give in to what they want and I buy too high, I can't run the markdown sales, the coupons, the best offers, the offers from watchers, all that stuff that I like to do. And to make money, I'm trying to make 5x plus on everything that I sell. And
I think it's what is the item worth is how low I'll go, and whether because the introvert in me says I don't if it's a $10 item and it's gonna sell for 30 or 40, I'll say, hey, would you take 7? I won't go half. I don't know what it's. Everybody is so different, and I don't think there's a right or a wrong. There's just your strategy for doing things.
Right.
Yeah.
So I only mention that because, okay, so how are the buyers that are buying our items any different? Now, we want a certain amount for our items. And when a buyer comes to us at a much lower price point, I guess we get a little disappointed. But do we?
But there's also most things we buy, there's a history of value. You know what I mean? There's not we're not shooting blind in somebody's driveway. Somebody's trying to clear it out. There's a history of value in that marketplace of what it's worth. There's an arbitrage of what it's worth in somebody's driveway versus, what it's worth to. I got my sale early, so that's good.
Hit the like button, got a sale. That's what we need to do. But my thought is, though, your buyer may not have that experience that you have. You have these buyers with less than 10 feedback. A lot of times you get these lowball offers from people like that. And, maybe it's just them. Look, I don't have a lot of money and I'd like to have this thing. And would you be willing to take this to fall within my budget? And I don't mind. But I guess for those sellers who do mind, why won't we just set up a minimum for that item so that way you never see the offer if it's too low?
I just got them. I hate it when you get a sale and a message at the same time.
Oh, okay. So they start asking questions after they buy it. I received this message while you're looking at that. I received this message on April 1st. And is this a joke? I've never.
These people are crazy. These people are crazy. Would like to purchase so I can do local pickup. I see you're in Meridianville. I'm for your time. Decatur is 40 miles from here. That's not local pickup. Me having to drive 40 miles is not local pickup. If my van gets 20 miles to the gallon, that means I have wasted 4 gallons of gas. That is an additional $10 to $12 in cost. Depending, it's $2.59 this morning, so that's an additional $11 in cost plus my time. So you don't have to pay shipping.
No, I get it. I get it. No, but
Yeah.
I would decline that. But
I'm
in
just-
this case, do you ever get this where FedEx has refunded me? We bought a label through eBay instead of going directly through FedEx. I think it's when we're having some problems with running FedEx labels. So we went directly through eBay, and it was delivered, and they gave me a $5.85 refund.
I get a refund every now and then. It's gotten to didn't used to happen, but the last 18 months or so, I'll get as many pluses and minuses. I think it kind of washes out. Except for when I put the FedEx in a plastic thing, and FedEx charged me like $32 for that one. That one never washed.
Yeah, yeah.
Never use a bag for FedEx.
Oh, never use anything other than cardboard. That's what the sales
Yeah.
rep, my local rep, told me, and I've never had an additional charge that I've had to pay, at least as of yet. I want to say hi to Mark Suddick. Thanks for being here. Yeah, and hit that like button. Get your sale within the next 24 hours. Beard just got his. Hey,
I hadn't
he
even
can
hit
get
the like
one.
button yet. I'm still on the fence about this episode.
If Beard can get his with what he sells, then anybody can.
This was in demand stuff. Now don't be so. That was a
What did you sell?
A Steam something for a Steam. I don't know what it was. It was $34 for a Steam link, and it's in the box.
Well, look,
Those things are in demand.
Steam.
It's
Steam. That's a video game. That's Steam, like the video game. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I picked it up for $7 and sold it for 34. And so that's another one. It's not 5 times, but I just bought it this week. That stuff's going to sell fast, and so there's a lot of things that I'll do. I like 5 times, but if it's something that I know sells immediately, and I've only got to take a few pictures, it's pretty easy in this box.
Well, 5X is just the goal for me. So I try to keep those 5X plus so that I can do all the different things and run sales. So again, this was kind of a controversial thing. We talked about this last year. Commonwealth kind of pushed back on the idea that you don't sell it based on what you bought it for. You sell it based on what the market is for that item. But
Yeah.
I look at what I bought it for. If I buy it for $2, the market normally is say 50 or 60, and I've been sitting on that for a little while. That's something I just listed, but I've been sitting on it for a little while. I'll take 30 for it. I'll take 25 for it. Even though it undercuts the market a little bit, I'm trying to get rid of stuff that's sitting around. If someone's willing to pay, pay up for it, then I'll take it. I'll get back what I put into it and put it into something better.
Hey, not all of us are YouTube and multi-gazillionaires for social media. So,
I mean, if I had Bonanza, I would be.
I own Bonanza. I wouldn't even list anywhere else like he does. Okay, so I've officially hit the thumbs up button.
There you go. So retroactively, you got your sale.
I'm demanding another one.
Kevin Hawthorne's with us from Lakeland, Florida. Nice to see you, buddy. Wanted to show you guys. This is how crazy it's kind of been for me. Sales have been weird. Now you guys see. I'll try to blow it up here if I can, so that it's somewhat. See, I guess it's even worse, huh? Well, I guess I'm not doing that. It's not working. So you guys can see this whole little lull right here in the middle. That's when I was gone, and I came back, and things on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday were super strong. Wednesday, it just fell flat on its face, and then yesterday, $1,300 day, sold that $1,000 receiver. Without it, it'd have been about a 3-something day. And then today, just this one shower shitter sale, $55.80. But last 31 days, I am up 54%, which is pretty outstanding. If I wanted to go to here, this is what I normally do. Wrong store. Here we go. So this year, year over year, I'm at 34,192, which is up 16.5%. My smaller store is at 7,737, which is, I wasn't really selling a whole lot at the beginning of last year, so it's really not a whole lot for me to compare to. But so far, about $44,000 in sales between the two stores, roughly within one quarter. So we're kind of on pace for about 160 to 170 $100,000 in sales if these numbers translate over 2025. I just don't know that's going to happen. Now, I know that here in the next few months, historically, the last 2 years, people are talking about summer slowdown coming up, and those have been great months for us. And we got into that's another topic of the PPP discussion that I don't really want to get into, so you'll have to watch tomorrow. But we all have our theories as to what the summer slowdown is caused by. I think that it's kind of self-inflicted by many sellers because I'm not taking off. I'm in here in the air conditioning. There ain't nowhere for me to go. It's too hot, 120 degrees out in the summer. I'm working. You know, other people are going on vacation. Are you frozen? Okay, he's moving. Okay.
No, I was trying to open up something in the bottom screen.
So we got Keith with us. Pitco says, I think 2025 is going to show the more serious sellers sticking around and weeding out the lesser sellers, as it's going to be a tough year if how the start of this year is anything to go by. It's hard to say. I mean, if you're having a tough time making sales and you're going to continue selling the same thing or the same type of item, then I really think there's really no relief in sight. There's nothing encouraging about what's going on in the world right now that's leading me to believe that there's going to be a huge change in a lot of these markets that are slow. Selling a lot of, I sell everything. So I really I'm not in tune with any particular market to know, if clothing is going to be okay or if antiques are going to be fine. I mean, that's more in Josh Galt's wheelhouse. Have you noticed a drop off in certain categories, or you're not noticing it?
Okay. So everybody, go ahead and hit the thumbs up twice because I now have a buyer would like to request cancellation. Use the wrong card. Horse shit.
Is that the one that wanted to meet you? 40?
No, that's the one I just sold. The
Must not be
Steam.
that hot of an item then if they want to get out of it.
Well, I've already turned down 2 offers on it.
So we have Gail Carlson's with us. Thanks for being here, Gail. Nice to see you. And that's the thing I don't like about this program, StreamYard. You have to jump back and forth to even use your sound effects. It kind of sucks. But Keith is confident about making it through. So yeah, I think for a lot of people are going to drop out. I think a lot of people have dropped out. I've noticed that with just YouTube, people aren't watching the videos anymore. It's really tough. I'm making, and really I don't care about the money. I mean, it's nice and all, but I'm making a third of what I made 2 years ago. Maybe maybe my content sucks. I don't know, but it's not where it used to be. Have you noticed a drop off in revenue on YouTube?
I'm the world's worst YouTuber. I don't care 2 craps about YouTube. So
Derek's with us. Nice to see you, Derek. He thinks it's going to be a tough year. You need books, gifts, goods, and books. Hello, John and Jenna and FA fam. Good to see you all. Hope you are well. If not, I hope you're getting better. Wishing everyone no fails and lots of sales. So thank you. Wishing you guys the same in return. I'm just going to keep plugging away. I think Josh said it best on PPP. You can only really focus on the things that you can control. And I'm kind of wondering if, my whole parts strategy is something I should be doubling down on.
That was me saying that.
Oh, did he? I thought he said that. I got to go back and watch the episode tomorrow then, because I totally forgot who said that. So why do you feel that way?
Because I've already gone off the deep end following politics once in the last 3 or 4 years, and you get so distracted. And then when I quit doing it, my reselling business was better because you're not angry all the time. I lived through Biden. I'll live through Trump. Nothing I can really do will change anything other than running my business and paying attention to my business and buying well, buying good items, selling good, doing good customer service, all the things that I can control. The more I'm better at that stuff, the better my business is. The rest of it doesn't matter.
So Derek's looking at being full-time by this time next year. So I would caution a lot of people, unless you can really get good sourcing. If you have a honey hole or a couple of them and it's really good, then go for it, I'd say. I mean, provided that you're not leaving a 9 to 5 that's really taking care of the things that you're reselling, just can't. Because you don't want to put yourself in a financial hole because you left your 9 to 5, no matter how much you hate it. I'm not sure right now is the best time for anyone to leave their 9 to 5 for reselling. What's your take on somebody that's looking to leave their 9 to 5 to do this full time?
Same thing when we had the podcast. You know, have a plan. You know, figure out what you're going to do to motivate yourself. You know, pay as many bills off as you can, because the less your monthly amount that you need to make is, the easier it is for you. And because I'm gonna buy more at yard sales, that's not a strategy. That's, you know, you need to figure out. The one thing that I used to say a lot, I don't say much anymore. Figure out what that number is you want to sell. If you want to sell $100,000 and if that'll get you through, remember, you've got to find $100,000 worth of merchandise. People don't look at it that way. They think they're just going to sell whatever. If you want to sell, and I would tell you, you need more than that, because not everything sells over. So if you want to sell 100,000 in a year, you probably need $150,000, $200,000 worth of merchandise. Go look at what your inventory is worth right now, and go, oh my God, how much more sourcing do I have to do to maintain this? That's the hardest thing, is maintaining.
Yeah, I'm kind of an anomaly when it comes to that, because my inventory isn't worth that much, and I'm, you know, maybe just the turnaround, like the quick flip philosophy that I have, just to flip it and to churn it. If I have 220, I think I have like 230 items in my store right now, and I think I've sold like 450 on the main, like another 150 on the secondary store. I think that's what's helping me out. If I had a huge store with slow moving products, I'm certain I wouldn't be able to break 100,000. So I'm just going to keep riding it. I mean, I had $1,300 a day yesterday, $50 a day today. Day ain't over yet, so hopefully we get some more sales. But I just wonder, you know, reports of slow, you know, like stock markets like falling and stuff. If that kind of stops people from spending, if they start to tighten their purse strings, I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it. I don't know.
I think my dinner's been delivered. Woohoo!
Oh, what you eating? What's for dinner?
Just making burgers, I think.
Well, you want to go eat and come back?
I told her to bring it out here. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, you're gonna make everyone hungry.
Crack the whip.
Let's see here. Yes, Mike Metco, our good friend Mike. Yes, we had to start over because I really wanted to do StreamYard. I think it's a little bit more interactive with the way the stream is. That way, Beard's not in some isolated screen somewhere and not having any idea what's being said in the chat. So normally I will do OBS Studio. You know, the thing is, StreamYard, they offered me like, hey, come back, try it for a week. All right, fine, I'll try it for a week, but I ain't paying $46 a month for.
You know, this ain't Josh. I would have just opened the screen up down here and chatted. I've got two screens running. I would have just chatted on the bottom screen.
Yeah, but it's kind of a pain to do that, to have you do that. And plus, I didn't want to have to screw around, set it up, and have any issues. This is a cleaner format, but for me, again, it's about you know, like, look, it's one bill I don't have to pay every month. Let's see. Trying to get to, got Larry Todd with us. Thanks for being here, Todd. Got Andy's with us. Nice to see you, Andy. We've got Brenda Smith. Want to just say hi to as many people as we can before we get on to more conversation. Joe Samard's with us. And of course, Beard, the very special guest. Chastity. Thanks for being here, Chastity. And Biscuit Butt. Nice to see you, Biscuit Butt. Hopefully things are going well for you. I haven't talked to you in a minute. We got Anissa's with us and John Worldwide Weber. It's all noise at this point. Hopefully not that bad. Of course, Bam Banshee, and I'm sure Primo's there. Flip It Goods with us. And Scott, do you still get your 65 and over discount?
Turn those numbers around.
The 56 and over?
56 and over.
It changes when you hit 50, though, really.
Tuesday and Thursday. Yes, I do.
Because I've had the 50 and over discounts. I've had some restaurants to say, oh, the senior discount is 50. Some places. My bowling league, they have a senior side pot. If you're at least 50, you can get in. So I feel like I'm a younger 50, a younger senior. I can actually have an advantage against them. And then the World Series of Poker, they have a senior tournament. So if I wanted to get into that, I'd.
Okay, so you want to hear what happened today? So I'm at that thrift store, not the one that's going out of business. They have their regular on one side, which they're discounting, but not as much. So I was in there, and there was this young girl, and she was talking about something. And the lady beside me said, "Oh, darling, you're just so young. You can't be older than 20." And she said, "Oh, bless your heart, I'm 23. That's really nice." And I said, "Man, you're just a young, and just wait till I turn 56 this week." And the lady beside me, who looked like she was older than my mother, said, "Oh, I'm gonna be 61 in a couple weeks." I'm like, I would have said 81.
The super senior discount.
I'm like, not everybody ages the same. I'm like, I would have guessed 81, and she was 60.
We have Michelle Kirkpatrick with us. Thanks for being here, Michelle. Sandy says, Mealy is the best vacuum I've ever owned.
Me too. Right as I sell them.
Devon says, I would think people would shop on eBay because store prices are going up. I think that it's inevitable. They have to go up, right? How many of the goods that you come across in your local store? I don't want to just say Walmart because I think we know the answer there. How many of the goods are made in the USA? Not so much, right?
Yeah, most of it, if it's in the USA, would be assembled in the USA. I don't think all of it's. Very few that are made wholly here.
So how does that work with these tariffs? So if it's assembled in the USA, the parts are made in China, let's say, and they're shipped in. So the tariff is on those parts, and then the product itself has no tariff?
Right, because like if you look at Mercedes, the Sprinters are put together in somewhere in South Carolina, but they are brought everything is brought into it, and because of the tax on trucks, I think they get around it that way. But they're still paying tariffs on parts.
Callie Deb says, I've found lots to source and my sales are up 75%.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. I'm looking at all the stuff, and I think I'm looking at too much stuff. I'm almost overwhelmed with merchandise, and that's kind of holding me back a little bit. But once I get more stuff up and just get a lot more stuff in the main store than I have right now, I think my sales are going to do even better. That's just the way I'm looking at it. You can't sell something that's not listed. Glenda's with us. Hi, John and Beard, plus all the great FAE family. Nice to see you. And we got Major Win as well. Hey, John, Scott, and crew got y'all in my ear as I get some picks going. There you go. Are you done listing for today? Just pretty much just.
I'm probably not going to have a show tonight since I'm here, and I'm just going to list tonight.
Your list? Okay. How are your panties doing, by the way? Those 3X?
They're still up there.
Still selling them okay? Are they still moving?
I saw 4 orders this week. I think they were.
Go ahead. This is Beard's song that I wrote for him for his panties.
You're gonna get hate.
I cannot lie. All these returns and I cannot deny. They buy 3X when they are bigger. These big women have me triggered. Hey ladies, big ladies.
I'll sell them all doing this, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Get your 3X bearded panties today, because Lord knows that ass ain't going away.
Sorry about that, everyone. I had to play a little snippet of that. I think that was me who wrote that song, so I take full credit or hate for whatever side of the spectrum you're on that. But you know what? Sometimes you got to laugh at stuff. I don't care if you can't, if you just can't fit into 3X. Maybe that was 20 years ago. It's still funny. That's the way I look at it. We got to be able to laugh at stuff. Paul Rose says, hi, John, and the birthday boy. Yes, happy birthday 2 days ago, right? The 2nd. So you're not an April Fool's child.
I was not. Probably should have been, but I was not.
JRKR is with us, and John says, times are changing. What's new? Let's see here. Major's going into ninja mode. We'll continue listening to the good stuff. Keep rocking it, everybody. Stay perky. I don't have the sound bite that Primo has for that, but stay perky. Paul Rose says, hi, everyone. Just putting phone on charge. It's dead and keeps cutting off. We'll be watching those. So thanks, Paul. It's like midnight or maybe past midnight.
So Paul, what kind of battery life do you get on a 6S or whatever the hell that phone is? 20 minutes? Old. Yeah, he gets like 20 minutes battery time. He has to plug it back in.
It becomes like a landline at that point. You got to have to keep it plugged in, and you can use it, but only within like cord distance of the outlet.
I would look in the comments to find the answer, but it's probably died by
now. Todd says, with the rise of tariffs, used items should hold their value or increase. That's correct. My hope, is most of my items are vintage. So I'm not so worried about the pricing. I think, if anything, it's going to be more competition. More buyers maybe on the platform, which would help. But I think you're going to have a lot of desperate people who need the money are going to be willing to take some of those lowball offers that we were talking about. Underscore, how do you watch in on fast mode to catch up? Well, don't do that. I sound like a chipmunk when you do that. Chastity says, cha-ching, and I haven't hit the like yet. I don't know. We just put that positive energy out there. Jenna is, and I think someone asked before, and I'll talk about this. Jenna is
later down the way. She popped in to tell everybody where
she was. She's at her sister's house, so she's got her hands full with her niece, and she's doing a lot of like helping out and stuff. So she'll be back in a week and a half. So she's there for a little while. JRK went to a community sale yesterday. Those are my favorite. You have to really drive anywhere. You can like hit 5 or 6 sales when you park. It's pretty cool. That's the thing about yard sales. I just like driving all over the place.
I want to drive all over the place because not because people like you want it easy and quit.
TikTok says tariffs should not raise prices. Companies will have to cut CEO salaries or other costs. We'll see how that's going.
Those CEOs are worth 50, 60 million. Come on now.
Mike Sellers is checking in from South Dakota. And going back to what TikTok said, though, about CEOs, I remember working for a company that was cash strapped, and we were reliant on government subsidies. And the last thing that ever was discussed was a CEO taking a pay cut, even though they should have. Of course, what they do is they'll cut a lot of the management. So between CEO and your, frontline management, that they'll go through and they'll cut like half of the management. That's really top heavy. A lot of these companies actually do. Todd says our county garage sale is next weekend. I buy on Friday and sell on Saturday. Fun times. That's interesting. So there's some yard sales in the area today. I just didn't stop. Too much going on. I got too much on my plate. Andy says I received an email last week that I was automatically enrolled. So that's the fitment. I would think it's in eBay's best interest to get everyone enrolled, where if they have AI or whatever is doing this, that's saying, oh, you got this air filter. So it'll go through, it'll find the part number that you have. Hopefully you're putting your part numbers in there. And then it's going through the database to determine what vehicles are made for that air filter or the air filter is made for, and update your listings accordingly. I think that most anyone should have access to that at some point. And then Biscuit Butt says on local pickup, they come to me. So I did one local pickup. One time I did a local pickup on eBay. When they first came out with the eBay local pickup option, I had this big Honda generator that I got in a pallet. I'm like, ain't no way I'm selling this other than local pickup. And someone offered me like $50 for it. It wasn't working properly. It looked fine, but it looked like some oil got inside the components. So went and dropped it off. Met the guy probably like 15, 20 miles away over in Henderson. And the guy was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a chance on it. He, sent me a message about a week later saying that all he had to do is go in and clean the oil out, and it was working fine. So he got a $400 generator, but I wasn't going to do anything else with it. I'm not going to sit there and use it. You're not going to ship it. That's what, like 100 pounds. I'm not shipping that anywhere. There's Jenna right there. So she's here with us watching on the live, and a lot of well wishes and everything. Not funny says, I just started looking at Marketplace again. It's crazy how many blatant scams are on there now.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be very careful. There's no seller protection on Marketplace, but if they buy your item, they go through Marketplace, buy your item through the link on eBay, then you're covered with whatever they buy on eBay. Jenna's picking up her niece from high school, then off to pick up the other at preschool. Sister Lindsay is currently in surgery. She's currently in surgery right now. But I understand it's like a 3 or 4 hour procedure that she's dealing with, and she's only about halfway through. So not fun, I'm sure. Stephen says, I know they change how best offers work. When you accept the offer, it'll stay listed until the customer's paid. So that's a good thing. Used to be you had to hold on to the thing for up to 4 days and then cancel it due to customer non-payment. All the while, it could have sold. How many times have you accepted an offer on something that hasn't been paid for, and then someone comes in behind and boom, hits it for full ask? I've had that happen. Beard, have you seen that before? You haven't seen that yet?
I don't pay enough attention.
Well, thank you for all the knowledge. Jovial says, Aunt Jenna be cooling with the nieces. We brought you in here to impart the knowledge. Duncan says, question, can a newer seller quit his job and rely on eBay income full time? What would he need to do to achieve that? So if someone comes to you, Beard, and asks this question that Duncan's asked, what are you telling them?
I'm gonna ask them, tell me about your plan. Tell me about your business plan. Tell me how you're gonna do this. What's your day going to be like? Have you planned out your week? Have you planned? Where are you getting this stuff? All the questions to make them think about how difficult the process is to get enough stuff to. So, number one is it realistic? How much money do you need every month, and is that realistic? That's probably the first question.
Yeah, I think it boils down to what do you have to pay for bills? Is your 9 to 5? If you're paying over $4,000 or $5,000 in bills, and your full-time job is taking care of that, or even barely taking care of that. And I know it's appealing not to have to work for somebody else, but man, you really gotta grind your butt off to replace that 9 to 5 income. I don't care. For most people, it may seem appealing, but it's just gonna be too difficult. Big Dre's with us, and Logic Z says, what's up, Flatland Picker? Where's 51st State Picker? He's with his family, and he had an invite, but politely declined because he just,
I'm like third in line because Josh got the invite. Jenna gone, then Josh, and then me. That's
no, you got the phone call first, sir. And I thought, you know what? I said, we're gonna have Beard on. Why don't we try to see if Josh wants to come on? So feel good that you got the call. And to be honest with you, if you would have said no, I would have just done it solo. Not to say that I wouldn't do it with Josh, but I just figured, if you're gonna say no, Josh is probably gonna say no. So it's like, let's just do it. Duncan says, I hit the like twice. Beard told me to do it and got 200 returns. See what happens? Don't do it. Joe says this country has been through a lot in the last 250 years and is still going strong. Don't bet against the USA. I agree with that statement 100%. Don't bet against the USA. That is 100%. And
there's only one bet I'll make against the USA.
I cannot find anything that I've uploaded. This is another reason why I don't use StreamYard. Darn it. Real time, timeless vintage. This is Bear says, I'm a reseller over 20 years, online 11 years, 24 and 25 is crap. Before 24 was good. Future unknown. Good morning. I'm at the auction. So before 24, I'd say, I think 23 wasn't so great, but 21, 22, last part of 20 was good because we had an influx of online buyers that never bought. I think the pandemic conditioned a lot of people who were either opposed to buying online and pretty much had to at that point, or didn't know how convenient online buying was. And I think that's really helped condition a lot of people to buy online. But I don't know, why is, if people are during the pandemic discovered online buying, or maybe were opposed to it, but then learned to accept it, why does it seem like the sales are kind of falling off?
Because they went back to doing what they did. They formed habits when they had to, and now that they are out and about, I'm sure we got some residual left over, but and not everything. They made a point where almost everything can be sent to you, and now, they've backed off a little bit. There's certain things, like I try to order from Walmart, you can't get. You have to go get it.
Big Joy says, I've been so busy that this year it seems I only have time to list on my days off, and that includes sourcing. So if you're trying to make this work as a second income, look, my hat's off to you. It's tough to work your 9 to 5. I mean, I was to the point where when I was doing it, I even tried hiring a VA to help me with some of this, and it just didn't work out. I guess maybe the people I were hiring weren't too good. John Worldwide Weber says, now is always the best time for action. So don't procrastinate. Do it now. Logic Z says, every single year for 15 years without fail, I hear this might not be the year for reselling, or it's not like it used to be, or it's going to be viable in the future. History says yes. What's your thoughts on that?
It will change. It won't look exactly the same, but it will be viable. 100% correct.
Devon says, my husband is not home tonight. No dinner for me. I do not cook. Well, no Jenna here tonight, and I'm not going to go hungry. So I did put a chuck roast on the smoker, and then after a couple hours of it getting all that smoke, I put it in the crock pot, making a little bit of pot roast with a smoked.
I can smell the hamburger, so they're probably about done. Yeah, for my birthday dinner, she cooked birria tacos for the first time, and that was really good. So we had them again last night, and then she made so much meat that she froze part of it, and she left some for tomorrow. We're having it on pizza tomorrow night.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Jacob, it's fresh made dough. He makes it from scratch, and then with that on there, that's gonna be some good pizza. I got a feeling that's gonna be really good.
The best dough I've made for pizza is 2 ingredients: plain Greek yogurt with self-rising flour, and it's all you need. And it tastes like a sourdough type of crust, pretty good. But yeah, certainly birria it's good to make. If you've never had it, it's like I used your chuck roast, and we get these things called a birria bomb.
That's what she did. It was easy. Anybody should be able to do it. Johnny's like, just put it in the crock pot and put beef broth in the bomb and let it go.
Yeah, it's a birria bomb. I used to go through the whole thing and put like the chipotle peppers in and this, that, other thing. It came out good, but it was just a lot of work. So yeah, that's a good idea. But I dare not make that when Jenna's gone, because she would freak out on me. Like, how dare you make it when I'm not at home? So
and the house smelled amazing all day. The house was,
well, I'm hungry right now. I can smell this roast going crazy. She's not a big fan of roast, so that's why I made it. Duncan says, for full-time eBay, you need a constant source of fast-moving products and enough income to buy, plus cover your living costs. It helps if you own your own place too, so don't need to pay rent. So if you're paying rent in an apartment, man, it's just going to be even tougher, because you probably have to go out and get a storage unit just to put all the extra stuff that you're going to need. To make, you're going to have to keep a pretty good sized inventory to make it work. Rob Something says, I've been liberated of the value of my 401k this week. Woohoo. Self-inflicted tough times are just starting. I mean, what do they lose their value? Like 5 to 6% of the stock market today? I mean, I'm not saying that that's nothing to sneeze at, but it's not like the crash of 87 or anything. So let's hope things can get better.
Give it time. Not yet.
Mike G says, good evening. I've already generated a poor man's salary for the first 3 months, so I'll be all right. I do think things will get worse this year economically. Highest credit debt, stock market decline. So not a lot of folks that are all that optimistic. David Kelber says, had my best ever month in March, only one sale in April. So maybe this all translates into slower retail, but better secondhand sites like eBay, Etsy, Mercari. I mean, if you get a lot of sales on Mercari. I got my first sale on Bonanza in like 8 months. You sell on Bonanza?
I haven't had one in probably 3 or 4 weeks.
And I was 3 days late shipping it because I didn't even realize that I had a sale. I was on PayPal and I noticed there was money in there. I'm like, what the hell is there money in my PayPal account? And it just
You got me looking.
Big Dre says, I'm planning on finishing all my drafts for the secondary store this weekend and hopefully launch the store by Monday. Well, good luck for you on that. Derek says, I have the investment, been looking into storage units. What do you guys think? My thinking is what it could help me with my sourcing. I have access. I think so. I think Beer's going to chomp down a little bit. So I'll put him backstage so we can get a little bite to eat. I have the investment. I've been looking into my storage units. What do you guys think? My thinking is that it could help me with my sourcing and have access to more goods. Certainly, the lesson that I've learned with having the storage unit is it kind of takes the pressure of having everything here. And even though if you ever took a look at my current situation, you would wonder, like, you're not really utilizing the storage unit the way you should because you have like piles of stuff here. It allows me to take advantage of deals that I wasn't able to take advantage of before. And that's a good thing. I can stock up for Q. You guys know my pain points. It's really the slow time of the year for me is into Q3, into Q4. And that's a problem because I'm running into a lot of competition for goods. And so I'm stocking up now so that when, Q3, Q4 rolls around, I still have something to sell and I don't have to buy in desperation and overpay. Bear says, I close my eBay offers. Buyer thinks they can get real Rolex for $20. No, they can't. We got Brett says, happy Friday. I'm totally satisfied and confident in reselling for 25. If you have good product, you can sell at good price and make decent profits. Should never fail. Keep customer service number one. I love it. Love the mindset. That's exactly, I like to say that most every reseller out there needs to be more like Brett in that you have this kind of a mindset, but I really do think it's having that source that you can rely on. And I think Brett has like multiple sources and he's able to buy good and he just has a really good situation. So it's easy to keep that mindset when you have a good situation. When your situation is not all that great, you start to doubt things. Let's see, we have Frogman with us. Thanks for being here, Frogman. And Anissa says, I would have more confidence in my eBay sales. They would actually show my items. Can't sell anything if they are hiding my goods. I agree with that. And I think there's something funny going on my second account. And I wanted to show you this kind of weird in that my second account was really doing well. So we'll rewind to the last week where I was gone and it's like it fell off. Now on Tuesday, for whatever reason, things improved and then kind of back to nothingness. And right around here, I was gone, but also I had the Vero. Now let me tell you about that. If you didn't watch the video that I put out yesterday, I was talking about all the things that I'm going through. I'm going through a lot right now, guys, on my store. And while the sales may not seem to be too bad, I'm dealing with some account health issues that are pretty much 100% my fault. In that I have the Vero. Now, I'll say this. The Vero was one of those things where on this secondary account, I went in, I made my own photo. I utilized a stock image from Roomba, which was my first mistake, but I used it I had the header, says what it was and says parts on the bottom. It was for the variation listing. So I parted out this Roomba. It's the Roomba that came out maybe like 8 months ago. So there's not a huge demand on those parts, but I've had that listing up for like 3 or 4 months. and I've sold maybe a couple items out of it because people are still under warranty under that particular model vacuum, and I don't foresee that listing doing all that well until sometime end of Q3, early Q4. But nonetheless, they took it down saying that I guess Roomba, iRobot went to them and said, hey, this is a Vero takedown. Fine, no problem. So they delist it and they want you to put your own photo and then resubmit it and then they'll reapprove it. So what I did when I got back, I took a different phone because I take my photos with my phone. So I took a different phone, and in the photo, it's just imagine a Roomba vacuum cleaner and there's a phone next to it and it had the Roomba logo. That was the stock photo. So I took my sister-in-law's phone and I used that as a prop next to the actual Roomba that I had. And I laid it out almost exactly the same, except the phone's on the different side. And instead of her kids being on the phone, I removed, blackened it out, and I put, this is not a stock photo, and I put our store's image on the phone, and I resubmitted it. Then I thought, you know what? I'm going to just wipe out this listing and start a new variation listing anyway, because I have more parts that I want to add to the listing. So after a couple hours waiting for them to get back to me to approve the listing, I just went in, and you can go back in and end the listing. So I thought that was the end of it. I ended the listing. So fast forward to the following day, I get a message from eBay. Again, another Vero takedown warning for the same item that was never relisted. It's double jeopardy on the same item. So I got hit with the second Vero request. So I called in. Of course, don't call in after 8:30 at night Pacific time, because there's like a half an hour before they close, and people don't follow up with anything that they're supposed to do. When it's closing time, they're done. They don't care. They're going on to their life. So I made that mistake. The guy said, oh, yeah, I'll go ahead and submit this so that they can review it and remove the second Vero warning, because you get too many Vero warnings, you get suspended. I've been down that road before, and I didn't want a secondary Vero warning to hit me. And, I've still not received a message from eBay. Doubt he did anything with it. So I'm probably going to have to call back and follow up, because I think that second Vero warning on the same listing is hurting my sales on the second account. I really do think that you can do things to your account and it'll come back and bite you in the ass. Logic Z says, yes, the part is coming is taxed. I don't know what that means. Probably something we were talking about before. Junk Fear says, I have put word for word in my title in my small buying account, and they're not showing my items for my selling account. True story. I do know that you can go into a browser. I like for instance, I'll use Chrome for the most of my browsing stuff, my business and my personal. But I'll go into Edge, Microsoft Edge, which comes with Windows. I'm not logged in. I'll fire up eBay and I will search word for word for the item that I think is being suppressed, and it will not come up. Like that listing did not come up. And so there's other listings in that store that did not come up. So I don't know what they're doing. I think I'm getting slow rolled. Flipping from the trailer says, hey, good to be back. Sorry I had to miss the last couple. How are you, John and Jenna? And well, Scott. Yeah, great. Doing great. Hopefully things are good for you. Peddling Profit says 45 years doing this. Best thing you can do is put back some of your earnings from some car pay bills. Debt-free is the goal. Start out part-time and go from there. You will accomplish more than you think. I think that's a great strategy. So if you're full-time right now, do this part-time and pretend that the part-time money doesn't even exist. Put that money towards paying down debt. Get to a place where things are paid off, and you then can transition to a 9-to-5 with a very minimal expenditure that you have to deal with every month. Maybe it's just down to your rent, your groceries, utilities. Maybe, you pay off your car, you pay off your credit cards, and it's just a lot less pressure when you have, you don't have to pay thousands of dollars in bills. He says, yeah, best song ever. Keith says, love it. That Beard song should be the outro tonight. I just don't have any visuals to go with it. Otherwise, I probably, that's probably a good thing. I probably just should have put a packet of his panties from his store up as a backdrop and let you guys listen to it. But these songs came out really good. I think they're offensive to people. I'm not trying to make these songs to create them to be offensive, but I think sometimes you just got to have to laugh at life. I mean, people need 3X panties. People don't know that they can't fit in 3X panties. And it's a song that kind of makes light of that. David says, hi, John Beard. eBay is dead. I just returned from holiday. I need to also change from private to business account. But I think, David, over there in Scotland, UK, if you have a private account, you get more perks. You don't have to pay final value fees, I believe, on used clothing, if I'm not mistaken, versus if you have a business account over there, you do have to pay it. So it's the playing field's not fair. You Want You Need says, made my day. These big women got me triggered. Haha. Big Dre says, I'm looking to move out of mine into a U-Haul corporate storage unit location. Here's Beard back with us. How's that burger?
Oh, outstanding. They make she was making smash burgers. They were good.
Okay. See how that worked? That didn't turn out too bad.
Well, I've been waiting for like 7 minutes. I've been talking to Logic Z in the bottom.
Oh, okay. I'm just getting kind of on a roll here. Big Dre says, I'm looking to move out of mine. A U-Haul corporate storage unit location that just opened. There's every box you could ever need and no break-ins or burn down units or hobos living in units. So yeah, you got to get a really good storage unit. Don't get the cheapest one. I made a point to get a storage unit that has AC because it's going to be 120 degrees. And I'm not trying to load anything in or out of that or go in and manage the stuff in those units if I don't have, any kind of AC. You don't have that problem out there, so it's probably not that big of a deal where you're at.
Oh, it'll be hot here, but I don't care. Mine are not climate.
Are you planning on keeping your storage units, or are you just going to continue keeping them and filling them up?
I want to get rid of at least one of them. They're supposed to be working on building more at this place. He's building RV units, and so I've told him to put my name on an RV unit.
Okay,
it'll be nice to have one to go in that's all huge and do it all, but
put up racks and everything. That's actually pretty good.
My main unit opens on both ends, and so it gets hot. I'll just open both ends, but it'll let air move through.
Got Andy says, I have 3X and 4X thongs. I just can't bring myself to list them. I have to throw them out. Send them to Beard. He'll sell them.
So we'll make fun of them even more. I've got some extra large thongs there.
David was in Asia. I just missed the earthquake in Thailand, but it never went as far as Phuket. Even though I'd like to say what it does sound like. Looks like it says Phuket, but I'm not going to say that. Logic Z says, just rest assured, eBay isn't hiding your item. They want your item to show up more than you do. That's their whole business. They will suppress certain listings, though, if they feel like your listing isn't in compliance with what they expect, especially if you get like a warning, like a Vero takedown. They will certainly suppress it, because there's a couple listings in that store. I put word for word. I went through there's like 4 pages of listings. It wasn't there. Paul says, Beard, I was on a 2.5 stream followed by another 2-hour stream straight after. Then FAA is charging up now. LOL. So his phone's okay. It's about 2.5 hours out of it. Go fund me for 8. So what do you have going on with your business? Anything new? Or are you just kind of continuing down the same path that you've been going down here?
Just transitioning to buying inventory to sell online. I want to sell in the vintage decor category. I like that category, and then the rustic salvage, those two. And so I don't have a lot of stuff that fits in those categories. I sell a lot on eBay. I sell a lot of kitchen stuff. I sell a lot of yard sale items and that kind of thing. So like tomorrow, I am foregoing the yard sales. So you make sure you go, because I'm not going. To drive an hour and a half to a flea market to see, because it's a country flea market, and just to see about buying some older things and different things. And then I'll do any yard sales I sell, and as I drive on the way back, I'll stop at. But that's really the biggest change is I want to develop that I've got friends who are doing very well with whatnot in those categories. So I want to follow suit.
Yeah, I'm not closing myself off to it. I just don't target the right merchandise for it. So if I come across something that in my mind would do well and I can get the lot at a good price point, I would certainly buy it to consider. We have a bunch of pairs of shoes. I don't know how shoes would do on live auctions. I mean, people show up, they need a size 9. I'm offering a size 12. Unless they're a reseller, what the hell are they buying it for?
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I mean, so I would encourage people, if you want to try something different, if you want to do things different, make a plan and figure out how you're going to get there. And that's what I've been working on is, that's why I kind of drove to that thrift store today too, because it was in the country, and ended up buying a few items. I think I bought like 8 items that I'm going to sell live. So, I was able to buy stuff for eBay, stuff for live, and then a few items that I'm going to send to our local auction. So my sourcing is changing a little bit just to match where I want to go.
So Logic Z was going down the rabbit hole, I guess, asking AI about details of eBay's SEO title indexing, a bunch of nerd stuff, but some great info about algorithm details. You can actually ask them that question and have them dumb it down. Like, okay, now explain it to me like I'm 5 years old, and it'll tell you. John Gaynor says, hi, John and Scott. People want better prices in bad times, and online sales do well. One thing I found out that people who love what they do find it's not work and do well long term. Yes, you have to have the mindset of you get up and you're looking forward to actually doing the work versus do I have to get up and work today? I think if you have that latter mindset where it's like the same mindset you have working for someone else, you just dread doing it. This isn't what you should be doing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. The one thing I would add to that is just because you love one part of it too, you got to fall in love with the whole process, because, you've got to understand that the listing is not as much fun, and shipping may not be fun either, but those two complete the process. You've got to fall in love with the whole process in order to really, I actually enjoy shipping. Shipping is kind of, so I've been listening to the Bible on your podcast, and so I put it on and start listening to Father Mike, and just kind of getting a groove with shipping. And amazing how I finished with that one. I finished with shipping, and it's if you have the right supplies, it's very enjoyable. I kind of like that part because everybody else hates it so bad and they dread it and they're terrible at it, and so I take pride in trying to be good at it.
I look, it's one of the aspects of the business I really don't care for, but I mean, I've been doing it this last week and it's really no big deal. You have the paper tape machine is just outstanding. You got to get, if you guys are doing this for the long term and you do deal with boxes, I'm telling you right now, invest in a good paper tape machine. Beard turned me on to the Better Pack. What is it? 550E is what it is.
555E. Yeah.
555E, and yeah, you'll pay about $500 or $600 for it, and it seems like a big investment, but it is just that. It's an investment in your business, in your productivity, and I think sometimes it's worth shelling out the cash now so that you can be more productive later. It's going to pay off. It's going to pay for itself.
Yeah, that really, the efficiency that thing brings is, until you experience, because you don't realize how long it takes when you're building boxes. So I have an item that I've shipped 14 of this identical item this week off Amazon. Building those same boxes, it would take, ripping the gun, instead of just hitting the button and it kicks out 12 inches of tape, put it on there. And then I've got 4 boxes all open. I hit repeat, and the identical comes out, and I've built all these boxes that look alike, and then I fill the boxes up and with a identical item, and then I hit repeat, and it closes the boxes down. It is amazingly fast and efficient. You just can't imagine.
Yep. I agree, Todd. John is not as good without Jenna around. I agree. She brings out a little different side of me. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I try to loosen up when I'm in front of the camera when she's not here. I don't know. I'm just not the same person. And what's the odds of this? Admiral Mighty Buffoon says, I'm wearing a red shirt too. That is crazy. Let
Absolutely.
me see if I can go down here. We got Devon says, I did source great item today. That always makes me happy. That's you find some good stuff to sell. It does encourage you to keep to get out here and keep doing the stuff that people dread, like the listing and stuff. Mike G says, cheapy cha-ching sale. Now I hit the like button for my big sales. Telling you it works, guys. And Bear's only going to have Burger King on the way home. So now you made him want a burger. A Japanese Burger King burger. I wonder if it's the same. I'm sure it is. Logic Z says, I figured you have. I found a whole lot while researching. Is definitely sought after. It's great to learn outside of your category. Yeah. And then that way, if you find something that falls within that category that you've researched, you have a little bit of knowledge on it. Devon says, the markets got wrecked today just as bad when COVID hit, not Bitcoin. I didn't even look at Bitcoin. I know gold got hit by like $100 today. It was at 3,100. Now it's a little over 3,000 last time I looked. Mike?
It's a scam like everything else. Go look at what gold should actually be if they didn't mess with it.
Should be a lot more or a lot less?
It should be a lot more. Gold, if gold was allowed to function without their controls and playing games with it, you wouldn't be able to afford gold. Gold would be astronomical.
Mike Mecco says, any thoughts on the rumors of eBay acquiring Etsy? I know that was, I had talked about that a little while ago and people were shooting it down. That's just a rumor. So is that, I think it'd be huge for eBay if they were to do that. I don't know if they would integrate it or if they just allow Etsy to run on its own. Have you heard anything on that?
I have not. I heard you talk about it, but that's the extent of it.
John Doe says, first week of this month has been slow, but first week of last month was slow too, and I got a record sale the rest of the month. So that's good. So keep focused. I'm getting weird numbers, but I'm just going to keep focused. That's all you can do. Logic Z. Mike, stop spreading hopeful rumors. Duncan says, my ephemera business, I use suppliers from the UK. They can send me $5,000 or more of material at any time I need it to get all my stock mailed to me. Stores all my office, so stock does not take over my place. Yeah. The stock market was in nosebleed territory. It's about time the correction happen, return to normalcy, hopefully. So you think that what's going on today is a correction? I think it's a reaction the last couple of days more than a correction, which ends up being a correction, right? Logic says, branded sunglasses are such a honeypot, similar to cameras or anything with Pokemon on it. It just flies off the shelves. And it's funny, was listening to your live on Wednesday, and Big Grumpy John kept calling it Pokemon. It's like, yeah, it's not Pokemon. Time to sell collectibles says, hello, FA. It's Friday, late as usual. Reselling will always be good if you work at it. And it's times like this that's going to separate the cream from the crop. And that's why people just fall off, because it does get a little bit more difficult. Like for me, the sourcing is going to be a little bit more difficult. And I don't know how long that's going to be for. And I have to adjust. I have to make adjustments. I can't. It's not as easy as, I can look at a manifest now. I can see that there's $1,000 receiver in this pallet. I don't get that luxury anymore, at least until they change it back, if they ever do. So I'm taking a lot more chances. It's a lot different. Coppercat coming in late. We'll catch replay in Arkansas, getting ready for tonight's round of storms. A lot of storms going on. How's the weather out where you're at?
So the bad storms went above us on Wednesday. There were tornadoes above us, but we've got rain coming tomorrow night. A few storms, but we got highs in the 50s again next week. Josh has cursed us to get this cold Canadian weather again.
I see your little sidebar combo with Logic Z. Chastity says, I did a search using the first 3 words of one of your listings, Anissa, and yours was the first listing that comes up. So that's good news for Anissa. Eric Bressy says, good evening, online co-workers. Yes, this is your twice a week we have a meeting. We have a little team meeting. We all work together for eBay. That's kind of what we do, right? We work for eBay to generate their revenue. And if we're lucky, they'll let us have a little bit of it when it's all said and done.
So Gronk is crazy. So if y'all don't ever accept these language learning models, don't ever accept the first answer. So I asked Rock, so what would be the unmanipulated price of gold since the 1930s if they haven't played with it? And it come back and said gold should realistically be $1,000 to $1,500. So it's higher than what would be suggested in these theories. And I said, he said, what do you think? I said, I think you've got it backwards. And it comes back and says, you're good to call me out on that. And let's look at this exercise again. And now it says it should be potentially 5,000 to 10,000 an ounce, based on the supply growth and money since the 1930s.
Hey Joni, how you doing?
Okay, I get birthday cake too. Look at that.
Yes.
Is it a little dessert? What the hell?
I know this is service right here.
I guess.
This is 34
David,
years of training right here.
David Pittman from Scotland says, "We're changing stuff in the UK for private accounts. You need to use eBay postage. It's a mess. I'd rather pay 12% and not have the hassle."
You can't have it.
Time to sell collectibles. Remember to treat eBay as a business. Yes, I agree. Total sale is not all profit. Remember, you pay fees, operating costs, personal income tax. Yes. And you need to figure that in when you're buying. So when you're buying, like I try to get 5 to 10%, knowing that I want to keep my margins about 40 to 50%, even with the higher, promotions that I've been using.
The long dog says hello. Look how long I am.
We got Josh is here with us. Nice to see you, buddy. He chose not to jump on with us, but nice to see you, Josh. Eric Bresci, I enjoy the listing part. I'm starting to list for other sellers. Draft. Oh, I could never bring myself to do consignment. Just too many expectations that you have to meet when you're dealing with somebody else's stuff. I like the listing. Don't mind testing electronics or cleaning. I hate taking pictures, and that sometimes will slow me down. The whole gamut slows me down from the time I open the box, taking it out, testing it. It all is a slowdown. Jules is with us. Thanks for being here, Jules. We got Elsa Contreras says, hello, everyone. I'm new at this. Do any of you promote off-site? So glad you brought that up.
I do not.
I don't think it's good for most people, to be honest with you. I wanted to show you guys my campaign that I did.
Yeah, it really depends what you sell. If you sell the same items and have large quantities of an item, it might be worth it. But if you're an everything seller or a little, even sell in a niche but don't have repeatable items, I should try it with my big girl panties because I've got 5,000 of them.
So here's what happened here. I did the last 2 weeks of March, and what I did was I threw $10 a day at it for the first week, and then the last week I threw $20 a day to see if that helped any. Now, mind you, eBay was paying up to 50% of my fees, up to $200. Now, 14 days at that's $210, just doing the math. 7 days at $10 a day, and the other 7 days at $20 a day. That's $210 I was throwing at this, and you could see they only spent $34.41. Sales $190.98. That's 2 sales, 1 sale of $133, another sale of $57. To me, that's not worth it. $33 extra dollars to maybe one of these would have sold anyway. Not sure quite what they were. I have to go back and look, but I only had 55 clicks and I had 6,327 impressions. So it popped up in someone's, more than likely, Google search 6,000 times and only got 55 people to click on it. And how many of those people were doing research anyway? I just think especially if you're new at this, stick with promoted listing standard. Do at least do over 2%. I mean, don't go too high. I wouldn't do more than 8 to 10%, but find what works best. Find the right number. And that means that you might be testing 2% today, and you might be testing 8% in 2 weeks to see if you see any difference. And you find the level of sales that you're comfortable with. and the amount that you're paying eBay. And remember, just because you're promoting doesn't mean that every sale is going to have promoted listing fees deducted from it. Because if they're sorting your listing by price, chances are they're going to click on the organic listing, which is not sponsored, and that's more money in your pocket. Jules says, Jen is definitely more pretty to your left. LOL. Yes, I agree. I 100% agree. But I am your second option. It's better than not having a show. So she will be back here with us as soon as she can. Pico says, Elsa, I tried the offsite. I can't have any sales. I didn't have any sales from it in a couple months, so I stopped. I think it's for certain type of items. If you have a larger store, maybe you'd benefit from that. So someone like, say, James Helferstay, I don't know if he's tried that or not. I would wonder what 40,000 items, 50,000 items would look like if you threw if you threw $30, $40 a day at it, even with that large of a store, if it would make any difference. Mike Jesus, my impressions / page views have declined compared to last year for the first quarter. Sales are better despite this. Ad rate average is 0.6 less than this year. Yeah, and then Logic Z's tried the offsite like 5 times. I gave it 5 chances. So you don't like those. I'm sure you've seen them. You don't fall for those offers that eBay. They'll come at you. We'll take half of your fees if you try offsite.
No, I don't want to be their test guinea pigs.
Jack's Treasure says, evening, everyone. Thanks for being here, Jack. You Want You Need says, I'm actually sorting magic cards, and apparently I'm wearing a red and white shirt too. Go Bama and stay out of the slammer. I don't know. We got a guy on the Raiders that Bama, and he couldn't stay out of the slammer. Jules Y75 says, up 27% last 30 listing, higher volume, and better sourcing definitely help. Yes.
That was just absolute stupidity. The amount of money as he had to be driving and take somebody's life for your stupidity, that's so screwed up.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. They didn't get him ready for the NFL there in Alabama. Derek says, we finally got some rain down here in West Texas. It never rains here. It never really rains in Vegas. It rained the last couple days out here. And you're getting ready for this in Nashville. Typical tornadoes and hail. It's like 83 now. Going to be another night of storms. So you got that in store in the next couple weeks. How many people are going to Nashville? No, you're going, right, Beard?
Yeah.
Logic Z, you'll like it so much. You list for others. Dang, that's really great leg up on this business. Don't get me wrong. I list a lot, but I don't enjoy it. I just couldn't do it for other people. Then they come at you and like, why did you take that offer? I wanted 200 for this, not 175. Or you sell the item and then you give them their cut, and then here comes a return request. No, just there's too many problems there. Jules wants to know if that's a Pepperidge Farm cake that you're eating.
No, my son made it. He made it from scratch. It's a yellow base, and he made chocolate cheesecake icing or something on it.
That's awesome. That sounds good.
It's absolutely amazing. And yes, Logic, that is Franklin James is his name.
Andy says, for whoever out there is wanting to go full time, figure out what your bills are per month that you have to pay now and triple it. That's what you have to make. I agree with that. And people love to call me while I'm live. That's just wonderful. Joel says, I think right now I have 5 offers for offsite ads. No thanks. They're really pushing. I confirmed it, guys. I mean, I thought it was going to be good. It didn't do anything. Now, I had this suspicion that maybe, the numbers, the stats they're showing me aren't really telling me a story about the offsite ads, but I'm wondering if they throw you a little bone and give you a little bit of a boost for, and maybe more impressions because you're playing their game. I don't know.
When Josh said he spent $4,000 and it was terrible, and he's smarter than both of us, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, look, I tried it with mixed results a couple years ago. Had a really good 2-week period at the end of 2023 with offsite ads. And so trying it again here in 2025, I know it's just not either. It doesn't work for smaller sellers, or I just don't have the right stuff to make it work. So
Yeah,
we're kind of at the hour and a half mark, and as it turns out, I'm probably going to have to run to the post office because my carrier told me he wasn't coming today, and by now he would have showed up. And these people aren't coming. I'm going to have to run these packages over, otherwise I'm going to face a late, and I don't want that. But guys, we're going to sign off here in a minute. But Beard, you're not having your live today?
I don't know. I hadn't decided yet.
Okay. So we might have
I've got 30 minutes.
Yeah, you got 30 minutes. I've got to get running, and of course I got to get some work done. And I still don't know what I'm going to do with the yard sale thing. I mean, it is becoming yard sale season for many people out there, and it's kind of been that way for Vegas. So maybe I'll partake in some yard sales and fill up my SUV like I usually do. But thanks for being here, Beard. Appreciate you. Again, go over to his channel, Bearded Picker, and go and check out his content. He puts out content throughout the week. He goes live Wednesday mornings and most Friday nights after this show. And hit the subscribe button and
I'll probably support. I might do it. Maybe we'll go live for an hour. I want to hang out with Todd and watch his hand. Look at Todd's hairy knuckles.
Yeah, you got to see Todd's hand. It's the thing we actually look for. But thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for being here, Beard. And don't panic about things that are out of your control. The things that are happening with the economy and the stock market. You can make adjustments based on these things, like I'm going to have to do with my sourcing. But figuring all that out and having the mindset to keep pushing forward is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And we will see you guys on Monday, and have an excellent weekend. Take care, everyone.
Chargebacks, returns, and low ball offers too. Vero takedowns, they're a pain, what can we do? High selling fees, bad buys, and rude buyers galore. Flipping ain't easy, but we keep coming back for more. All resellers are going to make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes in the world of reselling. We're your guide with flipping ain't easy by your side. Sourcing great items is the key to success. Subscribe to the channel and stand above the rest. Focus on the things that are within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune in to the podcast, Profit Playbooks, the name, with Scott and Josh. Flipping's more than a game. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast, Profit Playbooks, the name, with Scott and Josh. Flipping's more than a game. All resellers are going to make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes in the world of reselling. We're your guide with flipping ain't easy by your side. Sourcing great items is the key to success. Subscribe to the channel and stand above the rest. Focus on the things that are within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy by your side. Flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast, Profit Playbook's the name with Scott and Josh. Flipping's more than a game.